Now, let's move on. How many do we have left? 28, it looks like. Still a shit ton of stuff to go through. Let's crank her down. See what's next. 26. 130 or 180-second ASMR. Alright, let's see what it's about. Alright, I watched 2 episodes of, what's the full title of this? Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds? It's the ASMR anime. And it's fine. I'm not particularly interested in ASMR. I gave this 2 episodes just to make sure, but I didn't find it particularly relaxing or soothing. Which I think is the point of it, since the first 2 episodes were both ear cleaning episodes. Weird that they did 2 back to back. I assume that the other 10 episodes will be different, maybe. Or maybe they just have 12 different kinds of ear picks. Who knows? But, had really cute character designs for the girls. But, yeah, if you're into ASMR, this might be good. I'm not the person to ask about it. I didn't find this particularly relaxing. Maybe I just don't like ear stuff? Who knows? But, well, let's go to the next show. Alright, we're just gonna... Where's my mouse at? There we are. We're just gonna take that off the list. And let's move on to the next show, which will be 5. That is... What do we got here? Selection Project. Alright, I have no idea what this is about, so let's give it a go. Alright, I made it about 15 minutes, I think, into this first episode, and I was very bored the entire time. I don't think it's bad, per se. Like, the animation's very polished, though not terribly interesting to look at. The character designs range from just kind of boring and unmemorable to kind of weird and off-putting. Like, there's this one character where it's like she's the cat girl. Like, not an actual cat girl, but like all of her features are like cat-ish. But they gave her like too many cat features. They gave her cat eyes, they gave her the fang, they gave her the cat mouth. Her hair is in like buns that look like cat ears. Like, it went way too far with it, so it just looked kind of weird. But in general, this show is just kind of boring. I don't particularly care about anything that's happening. Like, it's an interesting premise, I guess. It's an idol anime, but it's like American Idol style. So it's like people vote on the next idols for this particular group or something. Or I think it's just one, but yeah, I'm 15 minutes in and I just don't care at all. So let's move on. Alright. This is coming off the list. Crank down the number generator. Let's see what we got next. 22, which is Gyakuten Sekai no Tenchi Shoujo. I have no idea what this is. Let's find out. If I had a nickel for every anime about an alternate history of Japan in which anime gets censored by an authoritarian regime, and then there's a group of freedom fighters that try to fight for their freedom of media, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's kind of weird that it happened twice. So yeah, this is another, this is the Garanndoll show, I guess. That's what the Rumble Garanndoll is the English title for this one. This is another in a line of otaku fighting for their rights to their particular media of choice, anime, manga, eroge, etc. Which is understandable considering that anime is constantly under pressure from people who don't get it, or people who are weirded out by it. Not so much now, At least not internationally, I could say. I can't speak to how it is in Japan since I don't live there and I haven't really done any research on it. But I it's another one of those shows. But it kind of looks like shit. It's just not pleasant to look at all. And it's a good thing I fucking looked up the synopsis while I was downloading the first episode, because I would have had no fucking clue what was going on if I did not read what this show was about. I don't know how far into it I got. I think I got maybe 5 or 10 minutes in. But, so, it's basically that premise I described. Apparently, there's an alternate Japan dimension, and the people from there have mechs, and they conquered real Japan, so that the Reiwa era didn't start. I don't know why it's so... They make it a point to say that the Reiwa era didn't happen. Maybe it's... I understand it's sort of a ceremonial kind of thing. It has to do with who the emperor, or in this case empress, is at the time. But, and I guess you could also say, because I think Reiwa is sort of like calm or peaceful, I think that's what it means. Something like that. So, this series is set in a setting that is the opposite of that. So I guess it kind of makes sense linguistically, but the show still sucks. Main character is... he's interesting, I guess, but he's also kind of obnoxious. And apparently he can't afford fucking contacts for some reason. Like, I guess he's taken out a loan from somebody. He's in debt to loan sharks, but, like... Couldn't he use that to fucking get some contacts, my dude? Like, my god. There's so many little things about this show that pissed me off, so, just gonna move on to the next one, because I see no point in me continuing this. Alright. Gonna get rid of this one. Come on. There we go. Let's see what's next. Crank it down. We're down to 25. Did I hit the button? No. 18. See what 18 is. 18. My Senpai Is Annoying. Alright. I've been super fucking hyped for this one. Dogakobo workplace comedy. Let's fucking go. Alright. I just watched all of My Senpai Is Annoying, and that was really dang good. That was a really good comedy, really good rom-com. It's been a hot minute since I've seen a really good rom-com. I guess the last one was Horimiya in the winter season of that year. Yeah, I can't... It's almost the end of January and I'm still on the fucking fall season shit. This is going very slowly, but if I get to watch shows like this, it's fucking fine, because this was just fucking hilarious. There was so much really solid comedy of all different varieties in it, which is kind of what I like the best from my comedies. A lot of times if a show has one particular strength in terms of comedy, I find it wears out over the course of the series. But this one just had a whole lot of stuff. It had good wordplay, it had good physical comedy, had good pacing and timing, had good subject variety, just all around damn good comedy, and the romance side of it was really solid too. I am a little disappointed that there wasn't like a definitive relationship from the main two characters at the end of this, but maybe there will be a season 2? Who knows? I know this manga is fairly new, I believe, so there's probably not too many chapters to it yet. But loved all the characters in this. Futaba, our main girl, is just super fucking cute and endearing, and every frame of her is awesome, and I love her. Yeah, she's... I was worried that the childlike body joke was going to get old after a while, but I wouldn't say it stayed fresh the entire time, but I didn't hate the joke by the end of it. I've still found it pretty funny. especially when you compare it to the fucking massive gorilla that is Takeda, who is just the best, bro. That's another thing I liked about this series, is that it's just really nice and wholesome on the whole. Um, there's rarely anything like mean about this series, so I jive with that pretty nicely. Um, and overall, I think this series does a fucking amazing job at capturing like that bliss, that heart flutter that comes with being infatuated with someone, and it's just really fun to immerse yourself in that feeling. It's just so fun and cute and wholesome, and I love it. Um, and of course, visually, it looks fantastic too. This is Doga Kobo doing what they do best, which is cute girls workplace comedy. Again, same studio that did New Game, so very much in the vein of that, but more of a like standard office feel instead of video game stuff. But really appreciated just the whole vibe of this series, how it, the general aesthetic of it was really solid. All the character designs were fucking great. Um, I thought I was gonna have more to say about this series, but I've often struggled to find very interesting things to say about comedies because they focus on the comedy, and that's the good part. I will say there was I can definitely say there was some mumblings on Twitter about the like secondary couple, Kazuma and Sakurai, being more interesting than the main couple. And I could definitely see that. I would say they're about equal in my eyes. I very much Kazuma was just a really fun guy in a very stoic kind of sense. He's like a very kind of toned down kind of personality, just vibes with everything, very soft spoken. And Sakurai is just a very standard office lady kind of personality, voiced by Saori Hayami. That's another great thing about this is fucking voice cast was really solid on this one. I don't know exactly who else is in it besides Saori Hayami and Akio Otsuka, who plays Futaba's grandfather. I've gotten very good at identifying his voice. If you don't know who that is, he plays the like big, imposing voice characters a lot. He's All For One in My Hero, so that's a good comparison. Although he's a bit more sinister in that one. But yeah, really fucking solid voice work all around. Yeah, I just really love this series. If it had just a tiny bit more depth on the romance side, I would have loved it even more. But I don't dislike it for not having that. I am very fond of this series. It was just an absolute blast to come back to for each episode. And of course, the OP visually is like probably the best OP of the year. Like the fuck, I think it's Ryohei Takeshita. I think I don't quote me on that. It's Ryohei something is the guy who directed the OP and animated a lot of it. But yeah, fucking phenomenal character animation in the OP and just general lighting work and all that shit. God, this was just a fun old time. I'm very happy I watched this. Hope we get more of it in the future, or just more Doga Kobo cute girl comedy stuff. Doga Kobo was kind of on a losing streak for a bit, in my opinion. After New Game, after the second season of New Game, they had the two Lolicon shows that weren't very funny, and then they had Sing Yesterday to Me, which started really strong, and then the last episode was garbage, and then they had some show I can't even remember that looked like absolute dog shit, some kind of light novel adaptation, I think, some harem thing. So Doga Kobo was kind of on a losing streak lately for me, But this was a huge bounce back for that, so I hope they continue to make more good shit in the future. So, that's it for My Senpai Is Annoying. Let's go to the list. Alright, My Senpai Is Annoying is done, and we're gonna put it all the way up here, just shy of the top 10 for the year, and we're gonna give it a decent 8. That was some good fucking shit, some good Dogakobo comedy. Now, what are we down to? We're down to 24 shows now. Hoping to get down to less than 20 by the end of the night, but we'll see how we get there. 24. What's the next one? 15. What's 15? Sakugan. I don't know anything about. I think this is some kind of action show. Let's give it a whirl. Alright, well, I got through about 5 episodes of Sakugan. First 2 episodes were pretty solid, to be honest. I really liked the father-daughter dynamic it had going. They had some pretty solid chemistry in these first 2 episodes. Action was pretty tight. Set up some interesting expectations for how the series was going to go forward. I was hoping that this would be like a... I don't really remember what I was hoping this would be at this point. All I know is it turned into something much less interesting. I was hoping that it would focus on that dynamic, the dynamic between Gagambar, the father, and Memempu, the daughter, and how they work together to conquer this vast Wild West that is the Labyrinth. But as soon as they leave the starting city, the dad immediately becomes the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. And just becomes totally uninteresting. And the daughter, who is supposedly super smart, makes a shit ton of really obvious mistakes that she should not have made. God, it basically just kind of devolved into episodic episodes after the first 2, and then none of them were fun. Which is kind of a shame, because I actually looked up the staff for this one after the first episode. I was like, oh man, I'm having a good time. I wonder why I'm having a good time. And it's got the director, script writer, and soundtrack writer for World End. Shuka, I think was the Japanese title. I made a video about it a while ago, and I really liked that show. Probably one of the more underrated shows from that season. And this is a Studio Satellite show. Not really well known for their good animation. They're kind of known for mid-animation at best. But the first 2 episodes of this were really fucking good-looking. Really great character designs and some dynamic camera work and posing and blocking and just some really cool layouts and storyboards and shit. I just really liked the way this show was shot, and it had a really strong animation behind it. And then after the first 2 episodes, it very quickly started to devolve. Episode 4 just looked like hot ass. Along with being the worst episode of the 5 that I saw narratively. And so I was like, oh no, all the steam from that first 2 episodes is completely gone. That's unfortunate. This really makes me concerned that if I rewatch World End, Suka, it wasn't Shuka, Suka, that's what it was. If I rewatch that, I will like it less. But that won't be for a very, very long time, because I have so much other shit to watch. But, yeah, I will say the fucking soundtrack is a banger for this, though. At first I thought it was Taku Iwasaki because it had rap and other weird shit in it. But then the more I listened to it, I'm like, no, this isn't really as bombastic as he would be. And it turned out to be Takuya Sato, or Takuya Kato, who normally I'm not a huge fan of, or I just don't care about, but he also did the Mirai Nikki soundtrack, which I thought was pretty solid. This is definitely his best soundtrack so far, though. It's got this great jazzy feel to it. It's got some rap and hip-hop backing to it. It's just got a whole lot of everything. So I might listen to the soundtrack on its own at some point, because it's got some bangers in it. The OP's a fucking banger, too. I might add that to my playlist just because. But, yeah, this one had a lot of promise to start off with. I was really enjoying the ride, and then it just went careening off the edge of a cliff. So, that's disappointing. Let's move on.
Alright, we're going to take Sakugan off the list, down to 23. Let's see what's next. Come on, big money, no whammy. Let's crank it down to 23. Let's see what we get. 6. What is 6? 6 is Sankaku Mado no Sotogawa wa Ryoru. I have no clue what that is. But I guess I'm about to find out.
And the award for ugliest fucking color palette of the season, possibly the year, goes to this fucking show, which I believe the English title is The Night Beyond the Tricornered Window. I feel like that title's a reference to something, but I don't care. This show is fucking ugly. Like, and it doesn't even have a consistent color palette either. It swaps between muddy, ew, gray shit, washed out gray shit, and just, also washed out gray shit, but rainbow colored vomit. This is, it's fucking ugly. Holy shit. Like, my eyes felt like vomiting watching this show. And the character designs fucking suck, too. They're overly detailed in weird areas. And, again, the color palette doesn't help. And so it just looks... These people look like they're fucking anemic the entire time. It's so fucking ugly. And... Yeah, aside from that, this is part of the surprisingly robust genre of anime, or I guess subgenre, I guess you could call it, of pretty boys solve crimes. But most of these shows look like fucking ass. I've never met the person that this show is for, that this kind of show is for. Like, that fucking show from, I think it was 2020 when it came out, Ikebukuro Westgate Park, or whatever it's called, the anti-drug one. It's that kind of genre of show. And I don't know who this genre is for, because this doesn't... Maybe it's just because I've never met someone who's into these kinds of shows. If you are, let me know in the comments and explain the fucking appeal to me, because most of these shows look like fucking ass. And I don't know why they keep coming out, other than there is a very specific niche of anime fan that keeps buying them, I guess. Well, okay. Next.
Alright, get rid of this shit. Let's see what's next. Four. Jahy-sama. Okay, this one's a 2-core one. But I think it's fairly short for a 2-core show. I think it's only like 20 or 22 episodes, so might not be too long of a slog. Or maybe it's good. Or maybe it's awful. Let's see. Let's dive in.
I liked this show a lot more when it was called The Devil is a Part-Timer. So, yeah, I just watched
half an episode of Jahy-sama, and I was desperately trying to figure out where the jokes were. Like, stuff was happening that I thought was jokes, but I didn't laugh. I didn't find anything funny at all in the first half minute or half episode. And it's just the premise of the devil is a part-timer. Demon Lord, or in this case, right hand of the Demon Lord, gets sent to the human world and has to make as a normal person working a fast food job, or just a food service job, I guess, in general. I'm excited to rewatch Devil as a Part-Timer before the second season comes out. So, that's all I have to say about that. Moving on.
Alright, Jahy-sama off the list. Let's see what's next. What do we get? 7. What is 7? Shinka no Mr. What the fuck? Shinka no mi shiranai uchi no ni kachiguchi jinsei. Really wish I had just fucking put the English titles for all of this shit, but I guess I'm about to find out what this long-ass title is.
I finally have it. I just pulled this out of a drawer somewhere. I have my own isekai bell now. So, that show fucking sucked. I don't know how far I got into that. I guess the English title's like Fruits of Evolution or something. Looks like dog shit. The writing is so all over the place. You ever feel like you're immediately wasting your time on something? Like, that's immediately what I felt like. Like, what does this show have? Who fucking likes this? This is one of those shows that the fucking production committees are making just because they can, so that they can make more money. I hate it. And it looks like shit. The one interesting thing about it is that, like, the facial expressions that the main guy has in the first scene, like these comedic facial expressions, they look like they came out of a fucking 70s or 80s manga or something. So, that was weird to see. That show fucking blows. Let's move on.
So I looked up the full English title for that one, and I guess it's, what is it fucking, anyways, it's The Fruit of Evolution. Before I knew it, my life had it made, which is probably the worst fucking title I've ever seen for an anime. Like, if it said I had it made, that might have been a little better, but Jesus fucking Christ, that's one of the worst fucking titles I've ever seen. This fucking blows. Get it off my fucking list. Fucking go away. Alright. How many we have? We're down to 20. We're down to 20 shows. What's next? 14, which is Shikizakura. Don't know what that is. Sounds action-y. Let's get into it.
I'm going to be honest, I completely forgot what I was going to say about this show, because there's really not a whole lot to say. Looks like it's some kind of Sentai-ish thing. I didn't even get to the fucking action because I was so goddamn bored by the intro. It's not that hard to do intro episodes, people. It's really not. It's so fucking boring. I just can't. I can't. If you're not interesting in like the first 5 minutes, I don't give a shit. Just all this fluff dialogue that means fucking nothing. I hate it. This is also a full CG series, apparently. It looks like ass. One of the things I did find funny though is you could tell which characters were going to be main characters based on who had CG models, because if they had CG models, that means they're going to use those models for a long time throughout the series. And if they were animated with traditional animation,
that probably meant that they were a fucking nothing character that's not going to be seen again. So that was interesting. There was some English in this one for some reason. At some point, it was actually kind of decent English. That the rhythm of it was kind of weird, but generally decent English. And the color direction for the CG models is fucking oversaturated. That's another thing about fucking full CG anime is either they do no color at all and make it look like a gray blob like fucking Polygon Pictures, or they use way too fucking much color and they just hyper saturate the shit out of it and it looks like fucking candy. And not like good candy, like the candy that you would just, like fake candy. Like if someone like came up with the concept of candy, that kind of color. I'm so tired of bad shit. Sorry, I hit my third drop in a row before getting through one episode. It starts to become draining, and it's also like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning. Who fucking knows? Let's move on.
Alright, Shikizakura is gone. Down to 19 now. Hoping to get through down to 10 today. We'll see how that goes. Depends on what shows I hit. Which one is this? This is 9. Pride of Orange! Alright, it's the hockey one. I hope it's good. I would like to enjoy this. Hockey idols, let's watch this shit.
Well, I got through one episode of Pride of Orange. That was really fucking boring, which I was not expecting from a sports anime. But holy shit, the lack of sport in this first episode is infuriating. Like the opening scene was really fucking cool. Had some cool hockey action in it, but rest of the show was just super fucking boring. The dialogue, the slice of life dialogue was not interesting at all. Two of the characters have zero personality. Like they're just completely blank. It's so fucking boring. I have no reason to continue this because I have no reason to think that it's going to get less boring. And it's also got, this got me thinking about how weird this fucking, because it's a hockey anime, but it's also got like idol shit mixed in. Like after the hockey game, the victors like do an idol performance, and it basically Uma Musume, but Uma Musume was so fucking weird of a premise that they really didn't have to justify the idol shit. They're like, yeah, it's horse girls, and they fucking do the fucking Kentucky Derby, and then they do idol shows afterwards, and they're cute girls. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But for this one, they actually like tried to come up with a reason for the idol shit. They're like, it's because it's like the one manager or hockey owner or whatever just thinks that it would be cool to do an idol performance after a hockey show to boost performance or to boost like attendance, and trying to justify the idol stuff somehow made it less believable, I guess. So that was weird, and just these characters are so fucking lame and annoying. Don't like them. When they have personalities, that is, because sometimes, like I said, they just fucking are blank slates. The animation's not super great either. Outside of that hockey cut in the beginning, it's not that good. The character designs are kind of meh. They really ride that uncanny valley of cuteness where it's like, this is like overly moe, and I don't like it. Especially in the idol performance scene, just something was off about the facial proportions, and it just didn't sit right with me. The idol scene was horribly cut too. Like there were way too many cuts in the idol scene, which I guess is just their lack of confidence in how they can animate longer cuts, I guess. Like the pacing in it was just so quick. I couldn't settle on a single fucking shot. My eyes were just going all over the place. There was no flow to this idol performance whatsoever. And it's literally the first one in the show, so it's like, I guess that's what I can expect from it. So yeah, I have no reason to watch any more of this. I'm disappointed. Oh, and apparently there's no body checks in women's ice hockey. So I'm like, well, then what's the fucking point of a fucking hockey anime? If they're not gonna rough people up, what's the fucking point? Whatever. Let's move on.